Upcoming in Tableau 10.4, there's a new linear geometry shapefile type that's going to be supported. And you can see that here on the screen. And basically, instead of having to have each individual point and play a game of connected dots, you can now use what's called a line string geometry type in order to build maps. So let's take a look at an example. So let's say that I want to look at every single road in the US. On the US Census website, I can see where I can download shapefiles for roads. Now I have the option to download the national file, but that just gives me interstates and major US highways. I want more detail than that. So if I pick each individual state and download them, I get a series of zip files, so 52 of them in total. And basically what I want to be able to do is I want to take each of those and merge them all together into a single file. Now the state level files go down to the county level. If you want to have a very detailed level, you would pick an individual state and then an individual county, and you would get much more detailed information. So let's look at an example first of kind of what I'm after. So I've gone ahead and pre-downloaded all the files, and I put them into, they all come down as zip files, and I unzipped every one of them. And you can see I basically have all this long list of folders. And inside each of these is a shapefile. So let's start by connecting to one of those and see how that works. So I'm going to pick the spatial file connector option. I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and I'll just pick the first one. And let's just connect to that shapefile. All right, and we can see we've got a road type, and we have this new line string geometry type, which isn't available in Tableau 3. That's coming in Tableau 10.4. So all I need to do is double click on the geometry field, and it looks like this is the state of Alabama. I can put road type on color, and now I can see the different road types. So I would be the interstates, M would be, let's see, U would be US highways, and different things like that. So S is state highways, O is other, and so on and so forth. I believe C is like county highways and things like that. So that's the granularity that we can get in Tableau 10.4. And you'll notice how fast that was, right? Just a double click and I get my map. Really cool. And then this full name field actually has the street names as well. So now I can hover over this and I can see this is Interstate 20. And this one is Interstate 65, and so on and so forth. So really useful, really useful visualization. Okay, so, but one of the things I can't do, if I go back to edit my data source, I can't then add another, so I can add another spatial file. So for example, I can go back to my downloads folder and maybe go to the second state and pick that shapefile. But the problem here is Tableau doesn't let me union these. It tries to join them, which doesn't really make sense. So if I remove that file and I try to drag it in here, you'll see there's no way to union it. I can only replace it. Okay, so that's not what we want to do. So let's go back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and close that data source. So this is where Alteryx comes in super handy. So I'm going to start up Alteryx Designer. And the first thing I need to do is, I know that I have a long list of files, so if I go back over to my directory here, you can see I've got all of these files down here. I can delete this one. I don't know what that is. Okay, so I've got all these different files. Great. All right, so basically what I need to do is I need to, within each of these folders, I want to bring in each of these individual shape files. Now in Alteryx, the easiest way to do this is through the directory tool. So I'm going to use this as my first input. I just need to tell which directory to search, so I'm going to open up the folder, and I'm going to try to find my downloads folder somewhere. Let me minimize this. If I go to Andy K, okay, and I want to go to downloads, and I don't want to pick any subfolder, so I'll just hit OK. And the files I want to search for are .shp files. So if I zoom in here, oops, a little bit too far. I wanted to .shp files, and I want to include all subdirectories. So that's going to basically scan through each of the folders. Okay, so from there, That's basically going, so if I go ahead and run that, you'll see on my output here, I just get a list of all of the files. So I have, all of these files down here, so 49 of them. Okay, very good. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I need to do a dynamic input. So I'm just going to search for that and drag it in. Okay, and I have to give it a template. So basically, I just need to pick one of the shape files so it knows where to look. So let's go back to the downloads folder. Where is it here? Downloads. I'm just going to pick one of the shape files and hit open. That's going to serve as my template. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK here. And then what I want to do is the field that I want to read is full path. So I want to download it from the full path. So let's go ahead and hit play there and see what we get. Okay, so I broke something here. It says file not found. Okay, so I think I messed something up here in my directory. So let's go back here and pick this again. So that looks okay. Output file name as field. I want to do full path. Okay. All right, let's try that again. All right, so I broke something here. Maybe this is the wrong option. Let's just choose. Let's choose file name. Okay. I have done this before, so I'm actually going to go ahead and cheat here and bring up my recent workflow, US roads. And here we did full path and then change entire file path. Okay, so let's do full path. Sorry about that. And then change entire file path. So let's run that. Okay, there we go. So now we're in business. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is, so this is just reading it in. Let's just give it a second to finish here. And you'll see it read in 296,000 records, or almost 297,000 records through 49 files. And if I click on the, I don't have my browse tool in here. If I had a browse tool in here, I'd be able to see those maps. So let me go ahead and stick a browse after. And we'll rerun that. I'll show you that again in a second. I don't want to rerun it again and waste your time. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I noticed that in my file path, or let me see here in my output, I think over here I have the, so I need to include the file name. So over here, I want to edit this and I want to include the file name only. So I did that wrong anyway. Okay. So, because I know the file name, if I switch back over to my directory here, you can see this TL 2016-01. The 01 is the FIPS code for each state. And I have an Excel file that has the FIPS code to state name matching, because the idea being maybe I want to allow people to filter on that. So let's switch back over to Alteryx here. Okay, and now if I click on my browse here, oops, let's go to my browse tool, and we should be able to see all of the maps generated here. Hopefully it doesn't take too awful long. Okay, so well, the map would generate over there similar to what we saw over in Tableau. Okay, so let's go ahead and kill that. Let's delete that. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to stick a formula tool on here. And we want to be able to basically strip out the FIPS code. So again, if I go back over here, you'll see my file name has the, I want to basically strip out this 01 in the middle of the file name. So to do that, I'm just going to add a new column. I'm going to call it FIPS code. And ultimately my output is going to be an integer. So what I want to do here is I want to start with a 2 number because that'll convert the text to an integer. And then I'm just going to give myself a bit of space here. And the first thing I want to do is I want to replace within that file name string, I want to search for TL underscore 2016 underscore. And I want to replace that with just a blank. And then with outside of that string, I want to do another replace. So let's do replace, And let's get rid of that. So we're going to evaluate the result of that string. And then we want to look for underscore, oops, double quotes, underscore PRI, SEC roads. So this is primary and secondary roads. And I want to replace that with double quotes. Okay, so, and then I need to close that bracket. And there we go. Okay, so that looks good. So now we have our FIPS codes. And let's go ahead and do a bit of cleanup here. So I like to stick a select in here. So full name, this is actually my road name. I don't need the linear ID. I don't need this field. And let's call this one road type. It's just a abbreviation there. We don't need the file name either. Oops, what did I do here? I scrolled by accident. So let's get rid of the file name as well. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to add an input here. And this time I'm going to navigate to my FIPS code. So let's just pick that. Hit OK. And I'm going to stick a join in here next. So let's just throw a join in here. And we're going to automatically, hopefully it automatically joins on FIPS code. So FIPS code to FIPS code. Excellent. Okay, so that's good so far. And now, basically, what if we stick a single output here, we're going to get a massive shape file. So that's ultimately what we want to do, but I don't need it to be super, super granular. So I'm going to use the generalize tool in Alteryx. And let's stick that in there. And it picks up my spatial object automatically, which is great. And let's say I want to summarize to the 1 mile level. Basically, I'm just going to kind of aggregate the lines up to the mile level. And then lastly, I want to just go ahead and output that. And I need to pick a place to output it. So let's just stick it. Let's go to libraries. Let's just put it on. Let's just stick it on my desktop for now. And we don't want it to be a Tableau extract. We want it to be a shapefile. So let's stick that there. And actually, no, let's go ahead and save this somewhere better. Let me go ahead and stick it on, maybe I'll stick it on, let's see, where can I put this? Let's just stick it in documents for now. And I'm going to create a new folder called US Roads. And then here, we're just going to call it US Roads. Good enough. And I hit save. Okay, so from there, we just go ahead and hit run. And it'll take a few seconds. So Tableau's Alteryx is reading in each of these files. And you'll see it doesn't take too awful long to read them in. And then the dynamic input basically scans each of those files and inputs them all separately one at a time. You can see the formulas and the select got applied really, really quickly. And the join will happen really fast as well. And then from there, the part that actually takes the most time here is the generalize tool. And that's because it has to go at a very granular level of data and look at every one of those lines in the US map and see how it looks. So ultimately what I want to get to is a single map of the US with every single line. So let's just give this a second here to finish. You'll see we're at 297,000 records. That's good. That matches what I had earlier. I'm at 490 meg, so it's an absolutely massive file. And so now Alteryx is just churning through each of these. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there and let that finish. Because really, I've run this before, so I'm just going to go ahead and connect to the final output. So I'm going to go to my spatial file, and I've saved it on. I see, where did I save this? US Roads. Nope, I didn't save it there. I saved it somewhere else. So let's go to, I think it's on Google Drive, and then data sources, US Roads. Okay. So it ends up resulting in a shapefile like this. So I'm just going to let Alteryx run in the background and try to save you a bit of time here. So I've got road name. It looks like my original one. I forgot to update the road type. So let's go ahead and rename that now. road type. All right, and I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to double click on my geometry. All right, let's let this finish real quick. And I'm actually going to create a use a custom Mapbox map for the background. So once this finishes, I'm actually going to go over here to Alteryx and stop this workflow. Let me stop that. So my fan's running on my computer. You might be able to hear it. Okay, so you see this looks pretty cool. So, oh, I don't want to change the color. Whoops. Okay, let's leave it like that for now. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to actually change my map type. So I've got a whole folder of Mapbox maps that I created. So I'm going to go up to Map, Background Maps, and Map Services. I'm going to add a Mapbox map. Oops. I want to call it US Roads, or I'm just going to call it just the US. Paste that in, hit OK, and then hit Close. And I've got this nice background map, just a black map of the US. And what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and create a group on my road type. And basically I want this one to be in a group by itself. This is interstate. And then I'm going to include an other group. And I'm going to rename that to primary, secondary roads. Okay, or actually let's just call this, let's just all others. Okay, and let's hit OK. And now I'm going to throw that onto my color shelf. And I should end up with 2 colors. Just give it a second here to draw. So right now we're at 1 mark. We're now at 2 marks. So I'm going to just go ahead and change the color palette a bit. So let's, I've got some really nice color palettes that I like. So I'm going to use that one, and then maybe like light gray for the others. Okay, so that's starting to come together. And now I'm going to actually take my road type and also stick it on the size shelf. And you'll notice the mark type changed to a circle, so I just need to swap that back to a map. And I'm going to just go ahead and reverse these colors. I'm sorry, reverse the sizes. And I don't need, I want the small ones to be as small as they could be, and maybe the big ones to be like that. Basically, I want the interstates to pop out a bit more. Okay, great. So now I could take the road name and stick that on detail. Give it a second. So right now we're at 2 marks. We've now gone up to 62,000 marks by adding the road name, but you can see I can now see it says Interstate 80. That's great. So I don't need my group in my tooltip anymore. And then maybe I want to go ahead and I want to show a filter for my state. Come on. Show filter. And maybe I want to show a filter for my road types. So let's show our filter, or actually let's first update our aliases here. So these are county highway, interstate, this is unknown, this is other, this is state highway, this is US highway, and these are just highways. Okay. So something like that. Oops. All right, and then let's go ahead and show our filter for this one as well. And I'm going to go ahead and hide these 2 cards. And then on my states, I'm just going to make this a multi-value drop-down. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the apply button. And there we go. So now if I want to filter this down, I can look at maybe just interstate highways if I want. Maybe interstate highways and US highways, or just US highways. And you can see different things like that. Okay, and then if I want to filter down to a single state, like let's say let's pick California, hit apply. and I show all the road types. So now we can see all the roads within California. So really, really cool. I really like how this turned out. But you know, with the combination of Alteryx and Mapbox and Tableau, you can actually create a pretty slick visualization in Tableau 10.4. So hopefully you found this useful, and I'll put up a picture of the final viz. I won't be able to publish this viz because 10.4 is not on Tableau Public yet, but I will post some pictures in the video, and I will include a link to the workbook, and then we'll take it from there. So thank you very much. Have a good day.